Today we're going to be discussing how to play table tennis. Today, just an introduction. We're not going to be going over any technique. This episode of Nathan's Guide to Table Tennis. How does that sound?
That sounds really catchy. I really want to watch that.
Okay. So first we're going to go over the rules.
Well, the rules are first one to 11.
Okay, so for all these people out there that still think that table tennis is a game to play at 21, you guys are all wrong.
That's still 2000 and late.
Oh. Okay, so now games are played to 11 points.
Yeah, so 1 by 2.
Win by 2, and most commonly it's 3 out of 5. Sometimes if you want shorter matches, you can play first to 2 games, which is 2 out of 3.
Or sometimes you can just play 1 game.
You have to switch sides after each game. So like after each game, after game 1, you switch sides. Okay, so serving. 2 serves each, no longer 5 serves each. And at 10 all, which is deuce, it is 1 serve each. So I would serve, and after that point, then he would serve. Alright, when you serve, you have to hit your side of the table first, then hit the opponent's side of the table. Okay, so make sure, remember, that the ball hits your side of the table first, and then their side of the table. There's no bouncing and smashing, that would be way too cheap. You keep it over your hand, toss up 6 inches, and hit your side first, then their side. Nets. Okay, so what a net is or a let, that's with the L. That means that when there's a let, that's like when someone walks into the court or a ball runs into the court or something distracting.
That's known as interference.
Right, interference. Whenever there's any interference in play,
it is called a let.
You can call a let. Of course, though, there is the second chance rule. Do you know what that is, Alan?
The second chance rule.
Okay, the second chance rule is basically you don't get a second chance. So if you don't call a let when the ball runs onto the court, you can't call a let afterwards and redo the point because you already took your chance, and if you miss it, you can't redo it. That's what the second chance rule means. You got it?
Okay.
Okay, when you play table tennis, the equipment. Now it's time to go over the equipment. Stop that.
Cancel.
Okay, so obviously you use a 40mm ball. You can see 40mm is going to be orange or white. This is a tailor's racket. And you see, red and black side. That's important. After the color rule, they made it so that you have to have one red side and one black side. You can't have both red, both black. You can't have
blue rubber.
You cannot have blue rubber. That's important to know. Okay, no green either.
Even though it might be your favorite color, but it's still not legal.
Exactly, not legal. So, as you know, this is a penhold racket.
Usually penhold rackets.
Penhold rackets, the handles are shorter. This is a Chinese penhold racket. Next is the regular racket that you guys are all used to. The shake hand racket. As you can see, the handle is longer than the penhold racket. So, on to holding how to hold the racket. Shake hand. Shake hand rackets you hold like this.
You hold it like your shaking hand. Like this.
As you can see, there are 2 anchor points. This anchor point at the top, this anchor point is the second anchor point. See, right here? That's the second anchor point. So you have 2 anchor points, shake hand, backhand, and forehand. Shake hand grip, as you can see, it is neutral with your wrist. So as you can see, the racket stays along the line of the wrist.
The second style is the Chinese penhold grip.
So this is the Chinese penhold grip right here. As you can see, the rackets are held like sort of like a pen.
No, you hold it like a guitar.
Yeah. Okay, so penhold, you hold like this, as you can see with 2 fingers on the front, the rest of your fingers on the back. But recently more and more people have been holding their rackets more like this. The back fingers, instead of just being there, they actually put some pressure on the back. This is because of the new innovation of the Chinese reverse penhold, where you hit the ball like this on your backhand instead of like this. Yeah, so those are the 2 most popular grips in the world. There's the Sealer grip,
the third,
or known as the American grip,
or as known as a car wash,
as the windshield wiper grip, or the shovel grip, depending on where your fingers are. Basically, the Sealer grip is like an extremely exaggerated forehand grip. As you see, shake hand grip. Okay, so an exaggerated forehand grip is like this, where you tilt it over. Okay, so that's exaggerated forehand. So as you can see, it's no longer in front. It allows you to give you a bigger forehand. However, Sealer grip is an extremely exaggerated forehand. basically your racket all the way around. So now you're gonna hit it back like this, and your forehand like this. A lot of female players, they use anti-spin rubber on the backhand. Basically, it's just really slippery rubber. So what that does is makes it so that the ball is really dead. There's no spin.
Really weird.
Okay, the reason they can do that is they use one side to hit both forehand and backhand. Okay, so this grip isn't that popular. I really wouldn't recommend you using it because it's pretty difficult to get good at it.
It takes a long time to get used to.
Of course, though, we did have many very good players using this, but in modern times, most of the top players use shake hand and
handhold grip.
Okay, so common misconception. So one of the biggest things I've noticed is when people say that
it is not a sport.
Oh wait, one of the ones that I really hate. You know when people are hitting the ball?
Yeah.
And you hit the ball to the other person. And you're like, shut up! You don't even know what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You know, so when you hit the ball to the other person and you're like, you touched the ball before it hit the ground, that means you lose the point. Well, no, that's not true. Sorry guys, but that's not true. When you hit the ball and it hits another guy, or another guy hits it before it hits the table, if the ball's already outside of the boundary of the table, meaning that the ball obviously missed, then you lose the point. You don't get to you don't get to hit the ball at the other guy and say that they lost. The only time this doesn't apply is you can't volley, which means if the guy's over the table and you hit a shot that's pretty obviously going to go inbound, or if the racket's over the table, you hit the racket, then it's your point. They just volleyed, and volleying is not allowed.
It is not allowed.
Okay, so let's see another common misconception. You are allowed to hit your finger. You are completely allowed to hit your finger. Any shot from the wrist
and
down or above, whatever, from the wrist towards your hand area, this area, that's allowed. You're allowed to hit your hand.
Yep.
And if it goes, as long as it goes over, that counts. Okay, so another one. Oh, right. This isn't tennis. This is not tennis. You don't have to serve cross court unless it's doubles. Yeah, you can serve anywhere. You can basically serve anywhere as long as
short, long, short to net, long.
So basically, you can just serve anywhere.
Anywhere you like, anywhere
okay,
you want.
and there's also the net. Just like, this is like tennis, where if the ball catches the net when it's going over, as long as it catches the net and it goes over, and it would otherwise be legal, then that's a net and you reserve. But there's no limit to nets. Like, if I was really good and I want to extend the match for like 10 hours, I can literally just catch a net 50 million times, and...
No, approximately, it would be 37.8 million times.
Basically, you can just catch the net however many times you want, and you will not lose the point. I think that's it for our common misconceptions on our introduction to table tennis.
On to our next chapter.
So on to our next part, which has to do with what table tennis is really like.
Table tennis is a physically intense...
You don't know how to read. Okay, table tennis is a physically intensive sport. This guy's just sitting here for show. Okay, so...
At beginning levels, it's not a big, huge deal. Consistency.
Right, at beginner level, it's not necessarily important to be able to move extremely fast or extremely, or hit the ball extremely powerfully.
At higher levels, like, you have to use more speed, power, and more foot.
Basically, you need to be stronger physically. Okay, table tennis is not just about using the arm. Okay, it's about using your waist a lot and your legs. Second thing is footwork. Sure, the table looks really small compared to a tennis court.
And a basketball court, and a soccer field, and a hockey rink.
But, even if it is smaller, you still have to have a lot of footwork. A lot of the footwork is like extremely small footwork, which is like small steps. A lot of very, very, very fast, small steps in order to get into position to make the best shot possible.
The footwork is similar to when you're a guarding a basketball player.
Footwork is extremely important. You'll understand that later, but this is just an introduction, so just keep that in mind. Another one of those huge things is, a lot of your strokes, okay? You guys have to understand that no matter what strokes we go over in later tutorials, all those strokes, most of the strokes are going to be good strokes. However, everyone has their own stroke. Like, Alan's stroke looks really sucky compared to my stroke. But it's good enough for him. An important aspect of table tennis is timing and spin.
And speed.
Mostly timing and spin.
Power.
Okay, well I'm going to be talking about timing and spin. Okay, so table tennis is not just a game of just popping the ball back and forth from the net at like 20 feet high, just like your leg gotta hit it back, okay? Table tennis, a lot of it is about timing. A person that is very used to your timing, a person that's very used to the same speed of shot, most of them are probably gonna return it without a problem. You should always change the timing, something hit a fast shot, something hit a soft shot. It makes a big difference.
Well, it depends on what level you're playing. Like, usually when I play with Nathan, I just use my regular shots. No need to change this. But if I play with like John
That's
T.
BS, dude.
Timo Bow or something, I might have to change the spin. Might.
That's just because I go easy on you. What's important to note is that table tennis is not a game completely about power. You need to have a lot of physical strength in order to be able to keep up with the speed of the ball and like be able to hit your shots consistently. Timing is really important. It's not just power. Most of it. It's just think about it. Just forcing your opponent into making mistakes. So by changing up the timing, if you mess up his stroke, mess up his rhythm, you just won the point. The other one is spin. And table tennis spin is extremely important. Spin not only allows you to keep the ball on the table because top spin will actually make the ball curve down onto the table so you can hit the ball harder and it'll still remain in the boundaries of the table. But spin, like if you have heavy spin or no spin, variation to spin also force the opponent to make a mistake.
The most important part of table tennis is the mental.
No, it's important, but if you're just playing recreationally, I think it's more important to focus more on your techniques. You can focus on your mental if you find that when you get into very close matches and you have trouble concentrating or you get extremely nervous and you can't hit your shots, that's when you want to start focusing on your mental game. Even though we didn't really go into anything extensively, in depth, this was just an introduction to let you know what table tennis is really like
and what's coming up from Nathan's Guide to Table Tennis.
And guest starring Alan, even though he's probably not going to be here in the next episode.
Thank you.
Well, you have to remember that this is all not in depth. It's, as he said, just an introduction. I hope that this video has taught you about the actual rules of table tennis. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below.
I hope you'll stay updated on more videos, and yeah.